This is the North Sheep Mountain Trail, otherwise known as the North Sheep Creek Mountain Trail, and its junction with Johnny Park Road, otherwise known as Forest Service Road 118.0. As usual in these videos, COTREX is in gray, and I've overlaid it on the OpenStreetMap tiles. We've got a lot going on in this screen, so I will highlight the North Sheep Mountain Trail in red, and now I highlight the Johnny Park Road in red as well. Okay, the first issue here is there's a discrepancy of about 450 feet where the North Sheep Mountain Trail intersects Johnny Park Road if you compare OpenStreetMap to COTREX. And let's just verify that. So 448.8, pretty close to 450. Let's turn on the Strava heat map. So the Strava heat map is a heat map of the GPS traces of all the Strava users, where they have traveled in the last 2 years. It's a 24-month rolling window. So what this tells us is that no Strava user traveled on this little section of trail depicted by COTREX here. But yet on the section over here that's OpenStreetMap shows, we have quite a bit of heat, the same amount of heat as down here on the rest of the trail. So that is strong evidence that that's probably where the trail actually is. I realize that people make social trails, but people also use official trails, and if anything, Strava users are going to try to go down every possible trail just to see they did it, so it's very suspicious there's no heat on the supposed official location here. Now here's another issue for the COTREX folks. And this is the COTREX data, and it says the manager is the Canyon Lakes Ranger District. And yet the Forest Service GIS trail data that I just downloaded a couple days ago, and it is Thursday, April 13th, 2023. So pretty recent data. That data, that's the Boulder data. So it's the Forest Service says that the Boulder Ranger District manages it. And actually confirmed via email with the officials at the Canyon Lakes Ranger District that no, they do not manage it. Everything on this side of Johnny Park Road is managed by the Boulder Ranger District. So that's the second issue for the COTREX folks. Next issue is, notice the trail number 17349. So now we're going to go over to the data from the Boulder Ranger District of the Forest Service. Trail NO, or presumably trail number 828. So I'm guessing just by what little I know about how trails are numbered, that's probably right, and the 5-digit number is probably wrong. Going back to the COTREX data, interesting enough, place ID is 828, which matches the trail number in the Forest Service data. So the next issue here is just the simple alignment of the data from the Forest Service. You can see COTREX, I'll highlight it in red. You can see the Strava heat map. And this is where people are traveling. This is where COTREX, somehow they got this information. This is where they say the trail is. And I've been on the trail, and that's what my GPS traces say. And this is about, depending on exactly where you measure, about 800 feet or so. So quite large discrepancy. This is scanned image of the USGS 1 to 24K series topographic map for the area. It's quite obvious that what probably happened is the Forest Service data for this trail was simply digitized off of that 1 to 24K map, and the trail probably, if it ever went in that location, it no longer does. So the next issue concerns this trail here, and this applies to both the Forest Service and COTREX. COTREX calls this North Sheep Mountain Cutoff Trail and says trail number 828.1. That's just for your information what we're talking about here. But the issue is, notice no Strava user in the last 2 years has traveled this section of the trail, nor this section down here. And if there are any trails in this area, they are going to get used. So that is very likely to be an error, that this trail does not exist at this location. Now down here, it does. Its alignment matches with the Strava Heatmap and OpenStreetMap, so that's likely to be correct. All right, the final issue here is that COTREX has a gap here between the North Sheep Mountain Trail, aka North Sheep Creek Mountain Trail, and the North Sheep Mountain Cutoff Trail, highlighted in red at the moment. But if I turn on the data from the Forest Service, there is a trail there, now shown in black from the Forest Service. And if I turn on Strava, people are traveling there. So I would say it's likely that these trails are connected, an approximate location where the Forest Service says they're connected. So that's some feedback for COTREX, not so much for the Forest Service.